Please take your seats. Good afternoon. Today is Tuesday, March the 8th. I want to welcome everyone to local full committee. At this time, I will ask the clerk to please take the roll.
Representatives Calfee, Carr, Chisholm, Gant, Helton, Hodges, Holsclaw, Leatherwood, Love, Manis, Miller, Moody, Moon, Reedy, Rudd, Shaw, Williams, Vice Chairman Wright, Chairman Crawford.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Let the record reflect that Representative Carr is excused. Do any of the members have any announcements or personal orders? Seeing none, the chairman will take privilege here. I have a young lady who is shadowing me today from Rutherford County. Her name is Marty Green, and I don't know where she's at. Okay, right in front of me. So let's make her feel welcome. Today we have 20 bills on the calendar. A few of them has been rolled, and we will take those item number 2 and item number 19. If you want to make a note, they will be rolled. At this time, we will start with number 1, House Bill 2130 by Speaker Marsh. Proper motion and second on the bill. You are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill is brought to us by the Treasury Department to update the safeguards for the local government investment pool, the LGIP. The fund allows local governments to invest their idle funds with the state's investment pool, which is managed by the Treasury. This bill gives the Treasury authority to create agreements with local governments, adding certain safeguards common to investing contracts with a private bank. It allows the Treasury to apply any negative market returns to a participant account in the event of a market downturn. Additionally, this bill authorizes the Treasury to use fees from this fund to pay for any system updates or operational costs. With that explanation, I'll answer any questions.
You've heard the explanation from the sponsor. Is there any questions? Questions been called. We're ready to vote on House Bill 2130. Moving on, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Speaker. At this time, I'm going to take item 2 has been already disposed of. We've rolled it. So House Bill 2892 by Speaker Johnson. Got a proper motion and second. You're recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. House Bill 2892 would allow Montgomery County, subject to local approval, to set salaries for general sessions judges to be compensated at an amount equal to the salaries of the Chancery and Circuit Court judges.
You've heard the explanation from the sponsor. Is there any questions? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on House Bill 2892. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee.
At this time, I'm going to take one out of order. We're going to take up item 5. House Bill 2892. 94, I'm sorry. This is Chair Lady Helton. Do I have a motion? Proper motion and second. Let the record reflect that I have received a 2/3 majority resolution from the governing body. At this time, you're recognized, Chair Lady Helton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is for Hamilton County. Subject to local approval, increases the membership of the Hamilton County Board of Education from 9 members to 11 members.
You've heard the explanation from the sponsor. Are there any questions? We have questions been called. House Bill 2894. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Jumping back to item number 4, House Bill 2356 by Representative Garrett. Do I have a motion? Proper motion and second. Representative Garrett, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This legislation was brought to me by the Hendersonville Board of Mayor and Aldermen. They had a meeting where by 2/3 of the vote, they decided to institute term limits for their mayor and for their board. And this will authorize them to make this a referendum so the city of Hendersonville residents can vote on whether or not they want to institute term limits. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be glad to take any questions.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the explanation from the sponsor. We do have a question. Representative Shaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Are they putting you in there too?
Out of order. No, you're recognized.
That's not addressed in this legislation.
On a serious note, what are their term limits? I'm just interested to know what are they asking
Oh,
for?
you're gonna spark my memory, and I don't want to say no, but I do believe it's their terms are 4 years, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken by memory, it limits it to three terms. It could be 2, but I don't want to misstate that, but it's 2 or 3. Thank you for that question.
Let me apologize to you. I should have been calling you Whip Garrett, so I apologize for that. Any more questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, I think we're ready to vote on House Bill 2356 without objection. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee.
Item number 6 has been rolled. We're going to roll it to the heel and come back to it, or the chair, call of the chair. Item number 7, 2888 by Chairman Halford. Got a proper motion and a second. Let the record reflect that I did receive a 2/3 majority vote from the governing body. At this time, you're recognized, Chairman Halford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And House Bill 2888 is brought to me by the city of Bradford, Tennessee, and it simply changes their term of their mayor from 2 years to 4 years.
Question's been called on the bill. We're ready to vote. Without objection, House Bill 2888. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I see we have Chairman Reagan in the room now, so we'll jump back to item 6, House Bill 2725. Proper motion in second. Chairman Reagan, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and my apologies for the delay there. As you're aware, this time of year, we have multiple committees going. House Bill 2725 is straightforward. Many of our communities have a historic or a local historic commission, and usually these appointments are made by the mayor and confirmed by a vote of the local governing body. Most of the time, they serve 5-year terms. However, current law does not include a procedure for filling vacancies, whether it's a death or some other reason for departure. We don't have a means of fulfilling that. This bill simply provides that vacancies can be filled by in the same manner by the mayor and governing body approving that to fill those vacancies. And with that explanation, I stand ready to answer questions. Sorry for the discombobulation there.
Thank you, Chairman Reagan. Is there any questions for the sponsor? Question has been called on the bill. All those in favor of House Bill 2725 moving on, say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar rules. Thank you, Chairman Reagan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee.
Item number 8, without objection, will be rolled to the heel. House Bill 2067 by Chairman Halsey. Chairman Halsey. Without objection, we will roll him to the hill. Let the record reflect that he has the next bill. We'll roll it to the hill as well. Item number 11, House Bill 2891 by Chairman Haston. We do have a proper motion and a second. Let the record reflect that I have received 2/3 majority vote And at this time, Chairman Hastings, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. This charter change request came from the Board of Mayor and Alderman of Scotts Hill. The change requested is to reflect that going forward, the general manager position is to be kept in place and filled in the same manner as city recorder, police chief, and city attorney. With that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
You've heard the explanation from the sponsor. Is there any questions? Seeing none, without objection, we'll vote on House Bill 2891. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and members.
Item number 12, House Bill 2331 by Representative Bricken. Proper motion and second. I do see it has an amendment. Representative Bricken, can you please give us your drafting code?
Amendment 14068.
That is correct. Got a proper motion and second on the amendment. You're recognized on the amendment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee, the amendment makes the bill. The bill is fairly simple. It will require all the county election commissions on or after January 1, 2024 to have voting machines that produce a voter verifiable paper audit trail. It gives the Commission of Elections a 2-year extension to grant election commissions that can't comply with the 2024 deadline.
We have a question on the amendment. All those in favor of amendment number 14068, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. Representative Williams, Chairman Williams, you're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Chairman Crawford. Representative Bricken, just want to thank you for this bill. We had a lot of discussion regarding it in subcommittee. Want to also thank Chairman Crawford, Chairman Rudd for setting up for companies that provide election machines, voting machines in our districts to come and show their wares this week. This bill is really important to my district. I spoke to my county election commission as it relates to it. It's really important because it gives us a verifiable paper trail, but it's permissive. It does it over time. And so I think one of the things our citizens wanted to know after the last elections that we did have a way to verify them in paper. And this allows my current machines in Putnam County to be able to operate in a way without having to buy a new machine. So thank you for the bill.
Thank you.
Chairman Holtzclaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And I also want to thank you for this bill. And it does have a large physical note, but that has been funded, just for the record.
Nothing's ever funded until it's funded. We have been given reasonable assurance that the money is available and or will be made available. So that's the best I can state, but we'll go from there.
This is something that's very much needed in the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
Any more questions for the sponsor? Question's been called on the bill. Without objection, we're voting on House Bill 2331. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to finance.
Thank you. And if you haven't got your bologna sandwich yet, there's still plenty on the 8th floor, and Warren County is pleased to serve you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Item number 13, House Bill 2503 by Representative Lynn. Got a proper motion and second on the bill. I do see it has an amendment. Representative Lynn, can you please give us your drafting code?
The drafting code is 14078.
That is correct. I have a motion and second on the amendment. You're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you. This amendment would take Cannon County out of this bill.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions? We have a question's been called on the amendment. All in favor of amendment 14078 going on the bill, please say aye. Those no. The amendment is now on the bill. Representative Lynn, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This bill restates the current code, only making 2 changes. Legal Services took the opportunity to simplify the current code, and it amends 6 counties into this section of code. And what does this section do? Well, about 10 or 12 years ago, it was noted that planning commissions had the autonomy to make changes to the general plan without a vote of the elective legislative body, the county commission or the city commission. So a bill was brought before the General Assembly and passed into law to mandate a vote of the elected body. However, 7 counties at that time were amended out of the law. This bill puts 6 of those 7 counties into this law so that they too will have the ability to vote when their planning commission suggests changes to the general plan.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions? Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Not really, for sure, I followed you.
Representative Lynn.
Oh, sure. Well, a number of years ago, and I believe you were here because I was here, it was noted by a legislator that planning commissions for counties and cities were making changes to the general plan without a vote of the elected body. So the county commission, city council, city commission. And they had autonomy to do that, and that's what they were doing. However, the legislators believed that if the planning commission wants to make changes to the general plan, it ought to be approved by a vote of the elected body. And so we changed the law at that time to make it be a vote of the elected body. So the planning commission proposes a change, the elected body votes, and it's changed. Well, 7 counties at that time were amended out of that law, just 7 counties. And this bill will put 6 of those counties into that law. 1 will remain out, and that's Cannon County. They asked to leave it like it is.
Follow up, Representative Shaw.
That was where I lost you. So you amending 6 back in
Right.
and leaving 1 of the 7 out. May I ask you why that one want to be left out?
Representative Lynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not sure. They just decided that they were fine with the way it was. So they will literally be the only county with their municipalities in the state that the planning commission will have all autonomy to make those changes without a vote of the elected body, should this bill pass.
Any other questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, any objections for us voting? All in favor of House Bill 2503, moving on, please say aye.
Item number
Opposed,
15.
no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Item number 14, House Bill 2508, Representative Lynn. Got a proper motion and second. I do see it has an amendment. Can you please give us your drafting code?
Yes, sir. It's 14191.
That is correct. I've got a motion and second on the amendment. Representative Lynn, you're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment is taking a section out of this bill that was actually in another bill that dealt with this matter that the committee has passed, and that was Chairman Hicks's bill, 2264. So rather than be redundant, we're just taking that section out.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor on the amendment. Any questions? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on amendment 14191 going on the bill. Please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill's now amended. You're recognized on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This legislation
Question is being called on the bill. Without objection, we're ready to vote on House Bill 2508. Please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Item 15, House Bill 2889 by Representative Darby. Got a proper motion and second. Let the record reflect that I have received a majority vote of 2/3 by the governing body. At this time, Representative Darby, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. This legislation came from the mayor and the city council from McKenzie, and this deletes provisions establishing wards within the city of McKenzie and makes related word changes.
You've heard the explanation of the sponsor. Is there any questions? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All in favor of House Bill 2889, moving on, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr.
for-
Chairman and committee.
Item number 16, House Bill 2534 by Representative Hicks, Tim Hicks. We will roll it to the hill. House Bill 2597, item 17 by Representative Hodges. Got a proper motion and second. I do see that it has an amendment on it, and Representative Hodges will be presenting from his chair. You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And the amendment makes the bill. And so what it is a privacy right bill.
Representative Hodges, can you give us that drafting number?
Oh, yes, sir. 013951.
That is correct. Proper motion and second on the amendment. You're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. What it is, it's a privacy rights bill. It allows properties to be displayed as unlisted rather than display the person's name on the searchable database. It's permissive to your local assessor, so if they don't want to do that, they don't have to. And it's only upon request of a person wanting to be unlisted. So with that, I'll take any questions.
We have questions being called on the amendment. Without objection, we're voting on amendment 13951. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is now on House Bill 2597. You're recognized, Representative Hodges.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Question is being called on House Bill 2597. Without objection, we're ready to vote. All in favor of House Bill 2597, moving on, please say aye. Opposed, no. Your bill moves on to calendar and rules. Item number 18, by Leader Gant. Is he in the room? We will roll that to the hill without objection. Item 19, by House Bill 1883 by Chairman Rudd, will be rolled 1 week. Item number 20, House Bill 2764 by Vice Chairman Wright. Got a proper motion and second. I do see it has an amendment. Can you please give us your drafting code?
Zero 14083.
That is correct. Got a proper motion and second on the amendment. Vice Chairman Wright, you're recognized on the amendment, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The amendment for us makes the bill. Could we move?
We have the questions being called on the amendment. All those in favor of adding amendment 14083 on the bill, please say aye. Opposed, no. The bill is now amended. You're recognized, Vice Chairman Wright, on House Bill 2764.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee. Currently laying on the House desk is the bill is approved in the Senate. And let me read the following verbiage. In order to qualify as a candidate in a primary election for the United States Senate or for a member of the United States House of Representatives, a person shall meet the residency requirement for state senators and representatives contained in the Tennessee Constitution. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I would submit that if this bill is passed out of this committee and moves to the House floor, that my motion on the floor would be to conform with the Senate bill. And if there is any change to that, I will bring this bill back to this committee.
Thank you, Vice Chairman Wright. Is there any questions on the bill? Representative Williams.
So the amendment you just described, is that the amendment that's currently traveling with the Senate bill? Is that what you're saying?
No, it is not. The verbiage I just read is the Senate bill.
Okay.
I just wanted to read that for clarification as to what is currently laying on the House desk as communicated by the Senate.
Chairman Williams.
Okay, so I guess that's where I'm a little bit confused. If you're going to substitute and conform to the Senate bill and your language is different, it will automatically change. So you just said you were going to bring it back, or what am I missing?
Chairman Wright.
if something changes is different from the Senate bill as I just read it, as amended on the House floor, I will bring it back to this committee if it's different than what is submitted by the House. Excuse me, if it's different from what is submitted by the Senate. If
Chairman
it's,
Williams.
Okay. No more questions.
Representative Shaw.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But what you just read is the House amendment. It's the Senate, you read the Senate amendment.
Vice Chairman Wright.
that's correct. Yes, that is correct.
Representative Shaw.
If the Senate amendment changes, you'll bring it back.
Vice Chairman Wright.
Yes.
Follow up.
No, sir, I'm fine.
Chairman Rudd, you're recognized.
Yeah, I've always had an issue with the Senate version, which is blatantly illegal, and it's been overturned by the Supreme Court before. We can't tell political parties how to conduct their primaries or interfere with their nominating process. I don't know if it would have made it out of the subcommittee if we had done this. So if we adapt to the Senate, it's going to be unconstitutional. It's going to be against current Supreme Court decisions, and I can't support it now for that reason. Thank you.
Chairman Wright, do you have a response?
No comment.
Chairman Williams, you're recognized.
Thank you. It's within the purview of this committee or any committee of the House to send any bill to the House floor for a vote. It's not up to us to determine the constitutionality of a bill. It's up for the courts to decide. And so this body has the ability to make a decision based upon its best interest in what they think going forward. And in this instance, I think as it relates to this bill, I think that's what the people would expect us to do. So I love my chairman of the subcommittee, but I don't think we should ever, as legal counsel or as members of the body, seek to adjudicate a bill before it's even passed. Thank you.
Any other questions? Chairman Rudd, you're recognized.
I appreciate your comments on that, but that is a regular course of action in all committees that if we feel something is not a sound bill or of not a constitutional setting or has already been ruled on by the courts, that that we can object to it, and we base our votes on that on multiple committees throughout this Capitol. Also, this is the party is blatantly stated they're against this, and they're a private organization. We can't tell them what to do in this process. Thank you.
Any other questions? Any more questions? We're ready to vote on Amendment 14083 going on the bill. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. Vice Chairman Wright, you're recognized for the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I ask for the committee's kind consideration.
Question has been called. All those in favor of House Bill 2764, moving on, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules. Okay, we're ready to start going back and picking up some of these off the heel. We will start with item number 8, one of my favorite chairmen, Chairman Kiesling. We have, this is House Bill 2198 by Chairman Kiesling. We have received a motion and second. Chairman Kiesling, you're recognized on your bill, sir.
Well, thank you for those kind compliments, Chairman. I appreciate it very much. Members, I'm a little concerned today, and I come to you with an apology because I'm somewhat confused and maybe reluctant to move forward with House Bill 2198 on the premise of this. Mr. Chairman, I look to you to ask, have you received or do you have in your possession a copy of the resolution of the governing body of Fentress County in your possession?
That is correct. I
You do have a
received
copy of it?
Two-thirds majority resolution from the governing body.
Okay. What concerns me, and I did not have this resolution until about 15 minutes before I entered that door from the Senate sponsor's office, from the office of the Senate sponsor. As you read, members, your chairman has this. It begins with whereas, and it concludes with saying the need for additional revenue sources is great in Fentress County, Tennessee. The proceeds from this such tax, and by the way, it is a tax. It's they're requesting a tax from occupancy tax from 5 up to 7%, increase 2%. It reads, with the proceeds from such tax to be deposited in the fund of the county to be used for such purposes as specified by the resolution. Well, there's no specifics, and Chairman, or I'll ask the legal also, do you all concur with what I'm saying? Then I can't see any specifics on where this is supposed to be. Now, I will say that I have had a brief phone conversation with County Mayor Jimmy Johnson there in Fentress County. As a matter of fact, he's viewing us right now. I've tried to reach out to the Senator Yeager's office to get better clarification on this. Of course, and Mayor Johnson is saying, well, Kelly, it's probably, we should have maybe checked this a little bit closer and maybe tweak this. He says, of course, the way it works, it goes into our general funds, but our intent is to promote tourism and economic development. And everyone on this in this committee knows, the rules and procedure of how this occupancy tax works. It has to go toward that. So, Chairman, I'm going to defer back to you as to what we want to do. Of course, we'd like to see this passed, but at the same time, it needs to be, it needs to be correct, or to you or legal on this.
Mr. Chairman.
Your thoughts, I guess.
This is your bill, and we will do whatever you want us to do. If you would like to roll it a week to get more information, we would be glad to do so. Or if you want it to come to a vote, we'll be glad to do that.
My only concern, and I appreciate that, and my only concern is, I'm without asking, I should have asked this just when the county commission meets again, Fentress County Commission, to come with with another resolution, because we could, that can't be fixed if they're not going to meet until next month now. You know what I'm saying? We're not going to be able to come with you next week with a different resolution, can we?
Well, we have not.
Of course, they could have a special meeting. Forgive me for interrupting.
That's okay. We have not announced last calendar for this
You've
committee
not?
yet. So we can do our best to make sure that gets heard.
I would, thank you for that offer. And yes, I'm going to accept that offer. If you guys could, if you as a committee could roll this then.
Without objection, we will roll House Bill
Thank you very
22.
much. And we'll get immediately on this.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hang on, Chairman. Chairman Wright, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As a little bit of procedure and being a sophomore member of this committee, does the occupancy tax have a general rule of thumb of what its maximum amount is?
I will
No.
recognize legal for that to make sure we get the number correct.
Matt Mundy from legal. I don't think that there's a specific cap on the occupancy tax. It's just been a kind of an informal policy of local government, as long as I've been here, to make sure that the occupancy tax plus the state and local sales tax don't exceed a certain percent.
Representative, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So then I will use this infamous name, Representative Dale Carr. I thought I was remembering that he had said somewhere along the way that occupancy tax, sort of as a rule of thumb, would not go over a certain percentage. But I don't remember what that kind of accepted percentage was. And if there is no such, I'm okay.
Chairman Holtzclaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. And Chairman Keesling, it's the first time I've ever heard, let's make a deal on a bill. So good job.
Again, the
Thank you,
sponsor is asked to roll this 1 week. Without objection, we'll roll it 1 week.
You're very kind. Thank you, Chairman and committee.
Okay, brings us to item number 9, House Bill 2067 by Chairman Halsey. Got a proper motion? Is there a second? Got a second. Chairman Halsey, you're recognized on House Bill 2067. I do see it has an amendment. Can you please give us that drafting code?
Thank you. What I have is 12464.
That is correct. That's what we have. We have a proper motion in a second on the amendment. Let's go ahead and put the amendment on the bill and then discuss it. All in favor of House Bill 12464, say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. You're recognized on House Bill 2067, Chairman Halsey.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. For those of you who are in the subcommittee, in the system, the way it works now in the state of Tennessee, if a minor party wanted to run on the ballot and they wanted their moniker, a little letter beside their name, just like Democrats and Republicans get, you run, if you're a Republican, your name, and then there's an R beside your name for Republican. If you're a Democrat, there's a D beside your name. Everything else falls into an independent category, an I. So nobody, of course, knows what an independent believes. So a minor party who wants, for example, the Constitution Party, they want a little C beside their name. In order for that to happen under existing law, where you and I only have to get 25 signatures to run in a statewide race, these folks have to get 56,082 signatures on what is current law. So this bill changes that and lowers those numbers to something that's more attainable. This bill says that instead of using the current formula that comes up with 56,000 signatures, we use the formula that actually would come up with 11,000 signatures they would still have to get if this bill passes. Now, there's been some concern that it is split votes. There is several red states, by the way, that require less than 2,000 signatures. And they haven't had any problems with splitting votes. No more so than you would with an I beside the name. So that's all this bill does. It just gets minor parties closer to an attainable number that they could reach as a signature, and that's what the bill does.
You've heard the explanation from the sponsor. I do have a question. Representative Shaw, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sponsor of the bill. One thing I disagree with you on when you say you don't know what an independent believe, and maybe your terminology or your definition came from a different place, but I've always thought an independent is a person who could vote either way depending upon the person rather than the party. That's my opinion of an independent. So when you say you don't know what you believe, I don't know if I can't say that I agree with you on that. I'd like to hear your response.
Chairman Halsey.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Independent as in, you're right, they can vote, but under this system that we have now, they can only vote Republican or Democrat. So Actually, if they lined up with a libertarian, there's no way of knowing that. Or if they lined up with the Constitutional Party, there's no way of knowing that. Or if they lined up with the Green Party, there's no way of knowing that. They just have two choices, Democrat and Republican.
Response.
You're welcome. Go
Well,
ahead.
there again, if you, I don't know if you have to vote for a Democrat or Republican. I think what you do again is you vote for the person more than for the party. I mean, I don't think this legislation changes what you're getting at. I mean, if a Green Party want to put out what they believe, it's left to the public to say, I believe that too. And I'm running on an independent ticket, but I really believe in Green Party, what the Green Party believe in. I'm trying to figure out what good do we do other than lower the signature rate by putting this on the ballot in the different, because I mean, we talking all the time about the confusion in voting, and I'm not for sure if we're not confusing more, because you got an R, you got a D, and you got an I. Then if you put a green on there, first of all, you got to educate people, what did that G mean? So I'm trying to figure out what your legislation is doing.
Chairman Halsey.
Okay, thank you. I was looking more so from the perspective of the voter. If the voter goes into the booth and sees an I, he doesn't necessarily know what that person believes. If he sees an L, and he's aware at all, he knows that stands for libertarian, and he very well may know what the libertarian platform is.
Chairman Rudd.
As we've discussed this, we have an established two-party system in the United States. We don't have a parliamentary system where everybody can run. It's been a very stable system. The thing that really worries me about your bill, whether it be Democrat or Republican, wherever there is a Democrat and Republican, where there's a close election, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, I think it could be the Socialist Party or the Green Party takes votes away from the Democrats where they can't win in a close election. Same thing, Libertarian or Constitution maybe makes up 7 or 8% of the Republican base. They run, if the Libertarians run in their own party, they're not going to be voting for the Republican. They could lose, and it could cause the Democrat to win. So in a close election, allowing third parties to run could siphon away from either party or both. So it could be the breaking point in several close elections. And that's my main objection. Thank you.
Chairman Halsey.
I have
Anything
no
else?
response other than I think an independent would cause the same consternation.
Any more questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, without objection, we're ready to vote on House Bill 2067 by Chairman Halsey. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Madam Clerk, we'll do a roll call vote.
Representative Calfee. Representative Chisholm. Representative Gant. Representative Helton. Representative Hodges. Representative Holzclaw. Representative Leatherwood. Representative Love. Representative Manis. Representative Moody. Sorry, Representative Miller. Representative Moon. Representative Reedy. Representative Rudd. Representative Shaw. Representative Williams. Vice Chairman Wright. Chairman Crawford.
No.
Mr. Chairman, there are 13 ayes and 5 noes.
Having received the necessary votes to move on, you're moving on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Chairman and Committee.
Item number 10 on today's agenda is House Bill 2467 by Chairman Hulsey. Proper motion and second. We do have an amendment. I need your drafting code, sir.
Excuse me, the one amendment that makes the bill's already there, so I'm assuming you need 12923,
That is not the drafting code we have.
13395.
That's the one we have. Do I have a motion on the amendment? Got a proper motion and second on the amendment? You're recognized on the amendment.
Thank you. The amendment makes a bill.
Question's been called on the amendment. All those in favor of amendment 13395 going on the bill, please say aye. Opposed, no. The amendment is now on the bill. You're recognized on the bill, Chairman
Okay.
Hulsey.
Thank you, Chairman of Committee. If you weren't in the subcommittee, let me explain how this came about. Mike Carter, who was of this body, about 8 months before he died, I texted him every morning and every evening and talked to him throughout that 8 months till he passed away. And we discussed some pretty deep things and some theological things. And one of the things we discussed is looking ahead at the possibility of real financial trouble in this country. A federal debt of $30 trillion. The Federal Reserve talking about going to a central bank digital currency. And it was Mike's concern that people could get in a financial bind and not be able to pay their property tax. And we talked about that, and I promised him that I would run this bill. And what this bill does is I met with the trustees, and it starts the process. This bill allows people to pay their property taxes forward. It establishes an escrow account where you can put as much money in there as you want to. And then if you have a financial downturn or collapse personally, at least the state cannot take your property away until that money's depleted. So that's the whole purpose of the bill. It's permissive, doesn't force a trustee to do it, or if they don't have the computer system to do it, and many do, but some don't, does not force it. But it begins the process that I'd like to follow up with the trustee association in mending it to where it will be applicable across the whole state. But that's the purpose of the bill, and that's how it works.
You've heard the explanation from the sponsors. Are any questions? Seeing none, without objection, we're ready to vote on House Bill 2467. Moving on, please say aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to calendar and rules.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And just, I wanted to note too that the bill is titled the Representative Mike Carter's Preservation Act. That's the name of the bill. Thank you so much.
Item number 16, House Bill 2534 by Representative Tim Hicks. Without objection, it'll be rolled 1 week. Item number 18, House Bill 2384 by Leader Gant. Do I have a motion? Proper motion. Do I have a second? Proper motion and second. Leader Gant, you're recognized on House Bill 2384.
Thank you, Chairman and committee. This legislation is being brought by Treasurer Lillard, and pursuant to the legislation that we passed last year, the state treasurer is in the process of establishing a length of service award program known as LOSAP for volunteer firefighters, emergency medical service providers, and ambulance drivers. Generally, a LoSAP is funded by contributions from the participating eligible employers, which may include local governments, volunteer fire departments, and/or nonprofit entities that utilize volunteers. The volunteers themselves do not contribute. This bill would amend the law to provide that the state treasurer may implement a program to award grants to eligible employers to match the employer's contribution to the LoSAP. Each grant would be a 1-to-1 match of the employer's contributions with a maximum of $200 per participating volunteer and a maximum of 25 volunteers per employer. The grants would be awarded annually on a first-come, first-served basis beginning July 1st, 2023, and in each fiscal year thereafter, subject to the availability of funds. Mr. Chairman and committee, I move passage.
You've heard the explanation of the bill. Is there any questions for Leader Gant on House Bill 2384? Seeing none, without objection, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 2384 moving on, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Bill moves on to finance.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
We covered everything? Okay. Before we close, does any of the members have any announcements or personal orders? Seeing none, I have one. Tonight, the Property and Planning Subcommittee will meet at 4:30 in House Hearing Room 3. Look forward to seeing you there. This time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. So moved. We are adjourned.
Oh. It's on.